All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Everyone take your right hand, put it over the left shoulder. Say congratulations for being here. Take your arms out the right and left. Congratulate your neighbors for being here. And I'm very thankful to be here. How many of you read a chicken soup book? Could I see a raise of hands? Oh, thank you. How many of you have not? Look, we still have a market. Two quick chicken soup stories and then we'll start. We did a chicken soup for the surviving soul. 101 Ways to Beat Cancer. Have a story in there by Norman Cousins, who got sick and went to the hospital, and every day the nurse came in and she was what he called a wee nurse. She said, "How are we, Dr. Cousins? And did we go to the bathroom today?" Well, he thought that was curious, and one day she brought in apple cider, and he took the apple cider and he put it in a urine cup and said, "Did we go to the bathroom?" And he says, "Yes, we did, and it looks a little cloudy, doesn't it?" And she says, "It does." He says, "I'll run it through again." What we're going to talk about is maximizing your wealth. How many of you want to have more wealth than you've ever had before? Can I see a raise of hands? Touch yourself at chest level and thunder. I'm ready. Everyone? Now, I've been very blessed to come out of poverty and build wealth, and today we're going to show how the law of attraction can hundredfold your income, and it just says that we've gotten a good fortune to write it. Here's what it says. It says, we have cartoons about it. It says, quit complaining and eat it. Number one, chicken soup is good for the flu. Number two, it's nobody we know. And this one, pretend it was your revenue system. It says, Dear IRS, I'd like to cancel my subscription. Please remove my name from your mailing list. And we think that's good, a horror movie. My feet are just freezing. Buddy, you think you got problems. Hey, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I wish for no housework, no cleaning, no cooking. Poof, you're a man. Here's the deal. We're going to talk about maximizing your wealth, and you are the topic. Touch yourself, say, I'm the topic. Everyone? And your wealth matters, because what I'm going to do is teach you how to have a massive, passive, growing, permanent, and ever-flowing income. Would that be good? I want you to earn, and I'm going to stretch you beyond where most people would, but I'm going to ask you to consider, just for the sake of argument, that you make not $100,000 a year, not $250,000, not $500,000, not $750,000, but $1 million a year. Would that be good or would that be good? That would be? Now, here's what I'm going to ask you to do is write down on a piece of paper, I'm so happy I'm earning $1 million a year. You don't have to believe it. All you got to do is believe that I believe it, and then you can achieve it. Take your fingers, point to your temples. Go, that's interesting. And then you want to build a massive net worth also. So what happens is the triangle, and you heard my colleague Roger talk about it, is that, you got creation, you got connection, which is fundraising, and then you got massive contribution. And I'm going to show how to do that with residual income. Now, America's greatest inventor is a guy named Thomas Alva Edison. He invented the light bulb and motion pictures and on and on. But he said if we all did what we were capable of doing, we would literally astonish ourselves. Take your two fingers, touch yourself at chest level. That wakes up the subconscious. Say, I'm going to astonish me. Everyone? Point at your neighbor right and left and say, I see you astonishing you. Take your two fingers, point at me and say, I see you astonishing you. Because as much as we've done, we can do more. As happy as we are, we can be. Exactly. Now, I say that first you got to have a dream, and Edison had a dream of doing big inventions. Number two, you got to have a team. Take your index fingers like this, please. Put them together, look at it, and say 1 1 equals 11. First you have a dream, then you got to have a team. Team means together everyone accomplishes miracles. Everyone say miracles. Thomas Edison had an uncommon group of friends. As you look at that picture, on the left is our former President Hoover. You got Henry Ford, the guy who made the automobiles, used to work for Edison. And then on the right, in the picture on the left, you've got Harvey Firestone. What happened is they worked 10 weeks, took a train down to Fort Myers, Florida, and took 10 days off. Every morning they're out fishing, and Ms. Edison said, look, there's a lot of fish out in the ocean. When you guys come back, you never catch any. What's wrong, Tom? Said, we don't have any hooks, we don't have any bait. Said, what are you guys doing? We're fishing for ideas. Point at your temples like this, please. Say, I'm fishing for ideas. What I'm going to do is hold up a giant mirror and say, look, ideas are equity. Ideas turn into money. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning with a way to sell 1 billion books in a day. I'm flying from Malaysia to here. I sit next to Jim Skinner, who you're going to be blown away with tomorrow night. I mean, he runs a $2 billion hedge fund. He's a brilliant, brilliant guy. I said to him while we're on a plane together, I said, I just figured out how to sell 1 billion books. Can I tell you about it? He said, my God, that's going to work. You're not going to believe this, but I wanted to sell 1 billion books in a day, and I got a totally different way to do it. Last night we had dinner with one of his colleagues, and we figured out a third way to do it. Ideas are equity. Everyone say that, please. Now, equity means money. It means wealth. It means capital. It means enhancement. And we're talking about wealth creation. And all you got to do is have one idea, have one mega idea, have the right connection, and you can outpicture it in a massive amount of good. Here's the deal. Can one person make a difference? The answer is, obviously, Mahatma Gandhi got India to be independent when I was born in 1948. You got Mother Teresa, who at 57 sees a guy dying as an untouchable of leprosy, picks him up and sees Christ in his eyes and decides to start Sisters of Charity and became the most powerful woman in a saint now. You got John Kennedy, who said, in this decade we'll land a man on the, which is what I'm talking about, visionary leadership. We're going to say that if you want to leverage yourself, you've got to have high vision like they did. Can any one person decide to make a difference? The answer is, who's the one person I want to make a difference today? Touch yourself, say, I am. You got Winston Churchill, you got Walt Disney, who started with a little sketch pad after he lost everything, drew a little mouse that roared, decided he was going to do Disneyland, then Disney World, and we just opened up Disney of Hong Kong for $3.5 billion. Obviously, Martin Luther King. Rosa Parks is a black woman who really started the civil rights movement in 1953. Up until that time, black people had to sit behind a little orange dot on the bus, so white people had front row seats. She said, I'm a person with dignity, I won't do it. They arrested her. It would cost $10 to get out of jail. Martin Luther King came and he stopped every bus in America, and that started civil rights. And Bill Gates, obviously, is the richest man in the world, so he's made a lot of difference as far as I can tell. Now, here's Jack, my partner, and our purpose is to change the whole world one story at a time. Whose story are we going to change today? Touch yourself, say mine. Give your neighbor knuckle jive gently and say, I see your story getting better and better. Here's what you need first. We just said it a second ago, but you got to have vision. What do you got to have? We're not talking about 2020. We're talking about insight, which is out of sight. You got to have the dream. And the vision for us was we wanted to, change the whole world one story at a time by doing little books that would change it and then do movies and all kinds of cool stuff. And we're doing all that. Is your vision unlimited? If you use your imagination, say yes. Everyone? Chicken Soup for the Soul, we've been so blessed. We started in 1993 with one book, and it succeeded. We had a second helping, and I'm going to show you how to 100-fold your income using the principle. We've now sold $1.4 billion worth of books. We're thankful that Singapore is the first place ever that we've had a book for a country, and it's rocking, and number one here, which just touches my heart. And all the media I've done in the last 2 days has been exceedingly supportive of your book. So I hope how many of you plan on reading Chicken Soup for the Singaporean Soul? Could I see a raise of hands? It's a wonderful book. Isn't that a beautiful cover for the book for you all? Our goal, though, is to do something that's never been done. Or I encourage every one of you to become rich. You've got to see yourself as rich before you become rich. When we wanted to sell the books, I'm going to ask you to do two things. First of all, figure out what your goal is and put it on your mirror. Where do you put it on your? In other words, our goal was to sell 1.5 million books in a year and a half. We put it on the mirror at my house, at Jack's house, at my office, at Jack's office. You put color around it, so every time you do your makeup or your shave, you're looking at it. It goes through the portals of the pupil into the depth of the soul. The minute you get fixed to your thought, you've already got it. You're going to catch up to it. We sold 1,300,000 the first year. Then our goal was to sell 5 million in 5 years, and then 10 million, and on and on. Now we want to sell 1 billion books, which, curiously enough, just in China, And my partner is a Mandarin scholar from Harvard and has figured out how to interface Chinese and English. English, we read front to back, left to right. Chinese, I read back to front, and the opposite. And they've got 7,000 little ideograms. What happens is China said, look, because you've got that, we would like to take 10 books by 100 million of each, and we have a pending order. Whether the Circle of Seven will really give it to us or not is up to debate. But if you have high vision and keep believing it with fixity of thought like the mirror, and then the second technique is you get a little 3x5 card and you write your goal. And if you want to be a millionaire, you write, I'm so happy I'm becoming a millionaire. Write a date, you sign it, and get somebody else to sign it. It says, I'm so happy. Some of you are writing it down, and that's a good idea. I'm so happy I'm becoming a millionaire. And some of you want to do it in 40 years. Some of you want to do it in 10 years. Some of you want to do it in 5 years. Some of you want to do it in 1 year. If you really have depth of belief, you can do it incredibly quickly, which is a wonderful thing. Because I teach the best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them. Well, how many of you have seen the movie The Secret? Could I see raise hands? My partner is in it. It is a movie that was done by an Australian named Rhonda Byrne. She's a great woman. They wouldn't take it in TV down in Australia. They wouldn't take it on the big screens in America, and yet 100 million people have watched it. She's made $280 million in the last 6 months, and it has fourfolded our sales. The law of attraction, I'm going to show you exactly how it works in 1 second. Here's what it says in the law of attraction. Every thought vibrates. Point at your temples and say, my every thought vibrates, please. Every thought sends out a signal, and it gets a matching signal back. Meaning that if your mind were a radio station, when you tune in one channel, you miss all the channels to the right and left. If you miss it too much, it goes, right? There's static. But if you hit the tune right, and in this case, because we're dealing with riches, if you keep going around saying, I'm rich, and get it to the depth of your soul, get it into every atom of your being, what happens is you'll go out and think rich, talk rich, act rich, believe rich, and become. State of mind creates state of result. Our state of mind was that we're going to be world's best-selling authors, and now we're Guinness Book best-selling authors. So what you want to do is understand that focused thought with feeling is unlimited. There's nothing that you can't do with it. There's 3 parts to this. First, you got to ask, and spiritual law says, ask and you will. But the deal with asking is that you got to have fundamental belief, and your fundamental belief has got to be vibrating. Because anything you ask for has a positive and negative vibration. You say, I got to have the money, I got to have the money. But you're sending out the wrong vibration. You're scaring away the money. Emotionally, at any given moment, you're either attracting something or repelling it. Right? You're either accepting it and allowing it or stifling it and stopping it. So it matters what you believe. And the last part is, so you ask, you believe, and then you get to receive. The masterful hierarchy was done by Abe Maslow. Most of you know his 7 needs, but this is more important. He says every one of us is born unconsciously incompetent. We don't know how to tie our shoes. We don't care that we don't know how to tie our shoes when we're born. At age 2 or 3, mom or dad says, hey, look, it's important to us that you learn how to tie your shoes, and then you become conscious. So it starts out unconsciously incompetent. You find out you can't tie your shoes. You become consciously incompetent. You go to this state, which is consciously competent, and the high goal is to become unconsciously competent without hitting your neighbors. Put out your arms and say, I got the wind beneath my wings, sort of like Bette Midler's song. How many of you have ever had a paradigm shift? Could I see raise hands? Do they happen fast or slow? 33 years ago, I'm bankrupt. I went bankrupt so fast I had to check a book out of the library, How to Go Bankrupt by Yourself. I went, Bob Allen once said, when you went bankrupt, how do you sleep? I said, I slept like a baby. He said, what do you mean? I said, I slept 2 hours and I cried. It caused a paradigm shift. I said, I'm going to learn how to get massively rich, and then I want to teach others to do the same. Because once you have wealth, you can afford to do the projects nobody else can afford to do. Like we're just about ready to plant the Great Barrier Reef with coral again. And you say, well, the government should do that. The government should do that, but they're not gonna. I'm working with Willie Nelson to do biodiesel to make sure we end global warming. And we squish legumes, which are like there are 200 kinds. It's a little long as a story, but we're going to get off all the petrochemicals. All that stuff's a paradigm shift, and the more you use your mind, the more you have mind power to use. So what is my commitment? I've obviously mastered money, and I want you to master money too. The picture you see me here with is one of my students called Nathan Nagoyan. He won the Horatio Algier Award, which I'm a proud member of. And it's we give scholarships to kids that are at risk. And Nathan was born in Vietnam. His dad was a prisoner of war for 8 years. And his mom had 6 children, and they got 1 egg each a day. And she's a beautiful woman, and they kept saying, your husband will never come back. Why don't you marry somebody else? Ends up, they fly to America after he got released. Nathan had never been in a car, got in a car for the first time, took off his shoes, put his foot on a plush carpet, and was amazed. Nathan came to a seminar like this, got the message, and said, oh my gosh, well, I'm a college student, I could get rich. And he went out and started buying real estate because I taught how to do it, and he bought $300,000 worth at age 19. He's now junior at University of California, Southern California. Then he came to a little seminar I was teaching on the internet, and he said, I'm going to start selling stuff on the internet. And he sells guitars on the internet, and by the end of this year, he will make $3 million. He has 20 people working for him because he's a full-time student living on a dormitory on a campus. So it's amazing what you can do if you master this stuff. Everyone touch yourself, say, I'm going to master this stuff. Shake your neighbor's hand, say, congratulations in advance. I see you mastering this stuff. Now, the question is, why do I want to do this? Because obviously I've sold enough, my future days are paid for. Well, just what you heard Roger say, that he wants to create worldwide wealth. I want to have worldwide wealth. I want to help create worldwide health. I want to see the world work for 100% of humanity, and I want to do that. I wrote down I want to create 1 million millionaires by 2014. Last year, if you look at our website, Millionaire Hall of Fame, our students are up $2 billion, so this stuff's really working, and that's what I want you to be. Because touch yourself, say, there's greatness in me. Now, the deal is only you are the one that can pull it out. That's what's so amazing, and you want to go from being a non-believer and having a little life to being a massive believer and having a massively good life, and it's available to you for the first time, and it's based on your thinking. Point at your temple, say, my thinking. Thinking backed with solid, decisive, planned action gets results that go beyond anything you could imagine. Bob Allen and I wrote a book called The 1 Minute Millionaire, which is becoming a movie, and it'll be out in December, it looks like. And it's the first book that's 2 books in one. We're the first book that half the book, the right brain part of the book, is about a little story about a lady who loses everything, and to get her kids back, she's got to earn $1 million in 90 days or less. And I'll just tell you the end. She figures it out. On the left-hand side, we have 24 very specific millionaire ha-has that take you step by step, some of which I'm going to teach you in just the next few minutes, so every one of you can do it. One of the ahas is you got to have a BHAG. Everyone say BHAG. Big, heady, audacious goal. Now, why do you want a big goal? Like if you're not a millionaire, so you say, well, I don't want to be a millionaire. I just want to get along. Well, we were in a cab yesterday, and the taxi driver was complaining about your Social Security system and all that, and it was very interesting. His projection is that he's not going to have enough money in retirement when he retires next year. He's thinking wrong, so is he going to get the wrong result? The answer is obvious. Right? Whereas if you think rich, talk rich, act rich, you'll ultimately get rich. So you got to set a goal that is huge. Everyone take your hands and say, huge. It costs no more to think big. It inspires other people to want to help you, want to work with you. And tomorrow morning, there's a possibility that we're going to be sharing something else with you about if you have big ideas, then you attract big people. If you got little ideas, you attract little people. James Skinner said to me, if you want to know whether a company is going to go or not, like the ones I have in my hedge fund, I always look whether it attracts the best people. If it attracts the best people, I know in advance that it's going to rocket ship forward and make fortunes. And then the deal is when you set big goals, if you're serious about them, you've got to grow to achieve them. Everyone say, I'm ready. I want each and every one of you to become a millionaire. Now, some of you say, well, wait a second, I don't know if I can do it. You don't have to believe you can do it. All you got to believe is that I believe you can do it. Richard Tan and Veronica Tan believe you can do it, and then you can do it. Everyone say, I can do it. Give your neighbor a high five right and left and say, you can do it. You guys are great. And that looks like the law of attraction in action to me right there.